I used to try to work with some people very similar to myself because that feels more comfortable because whatever I say, they understand. As I get older, I try to find someone different from myself, someone who has similar passion as me, but totally in different style. Sometimes I doubtful how long can I do this job, and I want to make great game that leaves mark on the history, gaming history. If Dave the Diver could do, I think anyone can do.
Dave the Diver was one of the most successful games of 2023. The game has racked up nearly 100,000 positive reviews on Steam with over 4 million copies sold. Numbers that are even more impressive considering it was the debut release from Mint Rocket, a Korean studio born out of NEXON just a year prior. Jaeho Hwang is Dave the Diver's game director and visionary. Many would be surprised to learn that the game's inspiration came from his actual life experience being surrounded by surfers, divers, and sushi restaurants. The ocean, as Jaeho puts it, is really one big dungeon. I want to chat with Jaeho to learn about his journey as a Korean developer making games for a global audience. The development of Dave the Diver is as quirky as the game itself and ultimately nothing short of a true underdog story. This is Win Conditions. Could you tell me the environment that you grew up in, the household, the city, the environment that, you attribute your childhood to?
I was born and raised in Seoul, Korea, but luckily I had a chance to live in Japan when I was in elementary school, and I couldn't speak Japanese at all. And that school was very traditional. I was the only foreign kid there. So, it was very hard for me to make a friend. So I learned Japanese through game. My parents bought me Super NES, it's Super Famicom in Japanese, and that's for rich kid. Even I'm not saying we are rich, but my dad just bought me because I didn't have that much friend. Because I have that SNES, the Japanese kids start to come to my house, and we didn't talk much. We played game together. The game is so different from movie or music. It's you jump in and you become a character and play it. And now it's online games everywhere. But when I was a kid, there's only local co-play. So we play together and kind of like build up our friendship. So that was the moment. I want to make something like this. I want to create my own one day, and then had a chance to step into the gaming industry because I saw the power of online game. I was surprised that the game can connect Korean user and Chinese user or even Americans all together. They play together. So I think that's beauty of game.
Yeah, games, you don't even have to speak the language to have fun.
Yeah, but I think you better to learn the curse word on online games.
Did you have like a game that you think defined your childhood when you're growing up?
If I have a chance, if I have complete freedom, I want to make JRPG because I love those deep story with that clunky pixel characters. All the 3D detailed graphics are good. I love those games, but this small character can stimulate your imagination. So I recently enjoyed the game Sea of Stars. They kind of like bring old JRPG memory with nowadays technique. So that's something I want to try, and that's the game that kind of defines my taste.
How did your parents influence your career or your passion for games at all? You hint that your dad bought the Super Famicom for you, but did they like that you played games? Did they support your love for, getting into the gaming industry?
My dad is traditional Asian parent, so he worked for bank, very traditional industry. And the reason he bought me the console is because I didn't have friend. That was the only reason. So I don't think he really liked that I'm too into the game. But anyway, what he taught me was just, like whatever you do, just be the best. So I'm not the best. I'm trying my best.
When you ended up going to university, did you study anything to do with games, or what did you do in college that maybe led you to your career now?
I did something completely different from the gaming career because my major in college was Chinese because I thought if I learn Chinese because I could speak Japanese, maybe I can find a good job. So that was the only reason. So I learn Chinese, but I still have a dream in my mind that I want to work in the gaming industry. I started my career in NEXON because NEXON has a college student internship. Because NEXON's game started to get popular in China, so they want to send college students to see what's, how they enjoy the game. So I had a chance to join the internship and I could go to China. So somehow my major helped me to move into the gaming industry.
Kind of lucky.
Yeah, it was lucky. Yeah.
Did you have any mentors or heroes that you wanted to be like, or people that helped you in the process of getting your first job?
My hero is Kojima. Anyway, so there's a mentor in Nexon. He's biz dev head. So he doesn't do anything with the game design itself. But he always told me that, hey, you should, focus on details. Whenever you write email, you have to read 3 times. And then if you can do small things good, and eventually you can do big things well too. So that mentality that really helped me to when I started to make game.
Where would you say you started putting in the most time into learning the skills needed to design games? Was that your first job? Was that before NEXON?
So I work as overseas project manager, but at the same time, at that time the NEXON company is not organized well enough. So I did game design a little bit. I did some business side a little bit, and I work in the game dev team. So basically, game designer, they design the game, but the contents that Chinese user love and what Japanese user love are different. So I have to work with them to what kind of stuff we need to focus in this local market. So that's how I start to learn game design.
Okay, so there was a point in time when you moved to the United States.
Mm-hmm.
What was that experience like of, working at NEXON, but then all of a sudden going from, Korea to another country altogether?
What I learned is in Korea, we work really fast. We are very swift and we work really hard. So when boss order you, command you, we just move really fast. But in America, they discuss more. I mean, in a good way, in a bad way, because I want to make decision, but we just talk, we just discuss. But I was surprised that even a lower level employee could just directly talk to higher level, upper level boss, even the CEO. It was very free mood. So that's something I couldn't get used to. But, that really helped me to understand American culture and try to get the best out of this mood. And later on, I did a little bit of publishing side work for a couple months. My role was sourcing good Korean game to America. I recommended Korean game to the local testers, and I thought the game is really good, but they didn't like it because the visual issues. They just didn't like the looks of this Korean game. And I think that was the reason Western games were not that popular in Asia, especially in Japan, because those looks and just style is so different. At that time, I thought what would be the art style that everyone would love, and pixel game was actually one of it. So from that point, I kind of want to, okay, if I make a game, I'm going to make a pixel game.
I was going to say that's a perfect thing to recognize at that point, which very much I see Dave the Diver, and I wouldn't think that it was made by
right, yeah,
a Korean studio.
But if it's complete high-end 3D game, you'll notice the difference of the taste.
Even the cover art or any of the art, you can tell kind of now that that game was made from the East, and that's maybe there's more Western players now that like Eastern games, but at the time I bet there was a huge divide between Asian games and Western games.
If you remember the Mega Man's cover art, it's so different in Japan and Western. In Japan, it's the Mega Man that but in the Western, it's a completely realistic and it's grown-up guy.
It's like a man. It's like a human.
Yeah. So it's so different. But now I think they're using the same art style for Japan and in the United States. So I think it's mixing up together right now. But at that time, it's so different.
Did you take any inspiration from your time in the US, which you think helped in the eventual development of Dave the Diver or anything else?
So first, the visual thing that I just mentioned. If visual thing become a hurdle, people just don't pick it up. I see a lot of good games in Korea that they want to break it into the Western market, but the visual wise is not that appealing, I think, from my standpoint. So that's something that I learned first. And the second one was Korean users are used to very complicated interface. If there's text explanation, description, and there's a lot of pop-ups. If you play Korean mobile game, you can see tons of pop-ups like, buy this or, But I think Western users prefer more intuitive settings, no explanation, just, you just go and pick it up. Or if there's any pop-up to this, explain this, and they just don't like it. So we are spending a lot of time in Dave the Diver team that, hey, let's just remove those tutorial pop-ups and let's try our best to make it more intuitive.
You moved back from the US to Korea.
Yeah.
But when you move back to Korea, there's a moment in time when you start your own company.
Uh-huh.
Can you talk to me about what that whole process was like?
So if you ask why I founded the company, it sounds like, I have strong vision of the company, but we didn't. We just, there's some ex-colleague from NEXON. They just want to leave the company, just want to found the company. So that was just the reason. So we didn't know what we're going to do, and we just didn't know what should we do and what we're good at. So I told them that, hey, I want to make a gaming company. I want to make a small game. So I wrote down a lot of game concept. My partner, who's a programmer, he didn't want to do that because it was the moment when the social media startup sweeping the old startup scenes. So he wanted to do some social media. We ended up making K-pop social media and social media for otaku, the action figure collector. And both were successful, but maybe because we didn't have the huge vision of these concepts, and then we thinking about, if we make this one and if it goes well, and maybe a company will buy us. And actually some company reached out to us, a big company, Korean big company, and I want to buy your company. So I think they kind of ruined us because we didn't prepare any monetization. And I saw some a bigger potential from the K-pop social media because we got a lot of users from overseas. We just made it for testing, but it went much better than our main project. But we just abandoned it and we tried to do something with this main project, and we didn't prepare for any monetization or huge vision for this project. So, and then the big company tried to buy us, kind of canceled it. So we lost direction. So we shut it down. So I learned a lot from this experience.
Yeah, I guess what were the main kind of things you learned from that? It's like have a vision, have a business model.
I think whatever you do, I think it has to be profitable. If it's not profitable, you become coward, and then you try to mimic other people, So even though we are making game under NEXON, and then people think we are very, the kids from the rich household, but we are not. We try to be profitable. We try to save money because I don't want to lose money on any project. But that's not our main goal. But what I learned is if we just follow the vision only and we are not profitable and we become coward and try to do something stupid.
Yeah, it's hard to build a business after you've almost set something and set the expectations that there is no business model in it.
Right.
Then you have to rebuild the whole thing from the ground
rebuild the
up.
whole thing, or start to doing something like outsourcing stuff, or just, try to find the role model to make money. So I think that's best. So I think it's better to think about the profit from the beginning. And second one was, I thought I'm really good at designing the game, but as soon as I founded the company, I spent most of time dealing with human resource or the financial stuff. So I couldn't really focus on my specialty. So that was tough part for me as a startup.
It's like doing all the things that are involved when all you want to do is design.
Right. I have to do something that I'm not specializing.
Would you ever do a startup again?
Probably I won't. I mean, it's not that I'm saying that I'm never going to do it or it's a bad thing you should not do. But if if I have a partner who's really good at it, maybe I will think about it. But at that time, I was the one who had to deal with all the outside stuff because my partner was programmer. So I think that sucked on most of my time. So I didn't really focus on my specialty.
Now, during all this, it sounds like you've mostly been making mobile games.
Mm-hmm.
And even at the startup, it was kind of like a different kind of like social media app.
Mm-hmm.
Deep inside, did you always want to make were you most comfortable making mobile games, or did you know at any point you would want to make like a PC or console game?
Console game has been my dream for my life. My first game as a director was 7 years ago. At that time, nobody willing to make a console game. Mobile game was much more profitable. So first game called Evil Factory, even it's mobile game, we only had one microtransaction model to make you play infinitely. And other than that, we didn't put a lot of like gacha model and stuff because there was only 5 people. So we didn't have huge pressure from company, and we could really focus on the game itself. And there was a moment I thought that, if I have a chance, if I have add a more experience, maybe I can make something really good PC console game in the future.
Do you think it's been a good thing though that you've learned how to make mobile games? Because in my eyes, you can go through many iterations of different mechanics and different styles almost really quick, and you can understand and find like what is fun a little bit quicker in the mobile space. That
right.
If you can understand that, you can maybe move it over to other kind of like larger games.
Right. The beauty of live ops service is you're actually doing the service, the game. So you have to listen to users all the time. You have to see what kind of stuff they like, what kind of stuff they don't like based on data. For online games, everything is calculated in data. So let's say we release new content and performance it's not big, it's very data based. So that's where I learned, okay, we should listen to users. We make decision, but the conclusion and judges are our customers. So that was the reason we did all the demo and early access stuff for Dave the Diver, because first, we are not that experienced console creator. And second, we want to listen to users what they want from this game.
Have you ever ran into any situations where you're following the data and you're like, oh, this is the right thing to follow, but then it ends up creatively not being the right decision?
Let's say if you put a story opening cutscene, people will skip the cutscene like 70, 80%. So that's the data. It tells you that, hey, you should not put this story cutscene at the beginning because nobody likes it. But sometimes you have to. Sometimes you have to put it in because people start to quit the game because they don't know the story at all. I don't think we should completely follow data, but at least we understand what people are doing. We're just checking the behavior, we should not just make a conclusion right out of the bat from the data.
So at this time, then you go back to NEXON and you're kind of in a position now to work with a bunch of designers. And I think that was your first time being like a game director again. What did you learn at all about like managing designers or, putting together teams to make games?
It's a tough job to make people on the same page. So I can't imagine having like hundreds of developers in the same team, like, AAA games. But I think that requires different skill from myself. Well, I let game designer, programmer to design whatever they want, but decisions are on me. For me, that's the best way to make things consistent. If they our game designers start to make something they like, even though that's better than my idea, but if we put together, that's just the package of mini games. They can come up with idea, they can make something they like, and then in their way, but they have to show it to me, and then I make decision, I make change. So we make that agreement. So I don't know. We have to talk to them first, but I think they're comfortable with it because I don't just go like do micromanaging at the beginning. I'm not their level, of course, but Miyamoto Shigeru in Nintendo, I think he does a similar thing. Let director and developer do something they want to do. Later he jump in and he check, and if he doesn't like, he just throw everything and just make the dev team start from scratch. But sometimes it helps. It sounds horrible, but sometimes it helps.
Is to have everyone at least on the same page. You can't
Yes.
have everyone doing their
Yeah.
own creative stuff.
Right. They know what we are doing, but I'm not like ordering them what to do. I just give them like rough idea. Hey, we should have this part. We want to make both battle here, and then they come up with some idea, and then okay, I mean it sounds good, and help yourself, and then they do something, and then later I do really detailed checking and change this, and that works with the small team. I don't know if I can do it with 100 of people, because that's gonna like make us waste a lot of time. But within under 30 people team, I think that works well.
Do you have a concept of the perfect team, like how to build a team that is like the best team possible?
I used to try to work with some people very similar to myself, because that feels more comfortable, because whatever I say, they understand. But as I get older, I try to find someone different from myself. Let's say I'm a striker in soccer game, and then there has to be goalkeeper and defender, these guys. So I try to find someone who has similar passion as me, but totally in different style. So, when you make a party in the RPG game, you can't just make a party with like all warriors. So I look for healers and I look for like magicians. So I think that's my definition of a good team.
How do you think about scope? Like, when do you know when a game is finished? And how do you determine when, the thing is done and you can ship the game? Like, as a director, I have to imagine you can keep on doing more and more and more elements to the game, but how do you know when the thing is finished?
Dave the Diver is not finished in that perspective, because we thought it's finished, but there's a lot of stuff to improve, and people start saying, hey, I want to have this part more, and I want to, have this character's background story things. So the main chapter, the 7 chapters, 8 chapters actually include the prologue. So we decide to ship the game when this main chapter is finished.
So you set that here's the amount of chapters.
Right.
Once you get there, develop, and then you're done.
Yeah, because time means the dev cost, right? So we have to finish the game at a certain point.
Makes sense. Got to make money too at some point.
Yeah,
it's the business of games.
Yeah.
Were there any moments that you thought were like a really big risk? Like you took a really big risk that either paid off or didn't pay off in the design process, or even you personally, taking a big risk?
Sometimes I think, this would be really fun. If we put this contents in the Dave the Diver, it'll be really fun. But it ends up not that fun, or it's kind of ruin existing one, or ruin the consistency. So, it's hard to like imagine everything in advance. So you have to make it first. You put it in the game and you play the game. Okay, this is not going to work. And then you take it out. So that's the tough part.
So it's almost like everything is a risk.
Yeah, everything is risk. And, like this, we laugh at all failed game, right? But I think they did their best, and then they thought this game would work. That's why they, shipped it, right? So it's very hard to predict what's the good game, what's the bad game. So, I'm not trying to be humble, but I really didn't expect this level of success with Dave the Diver. So that's another, it's positive way. That's unexpected stuff.
At the beginning of Dave the Diver, where were you creatively? Like, were you in the middle of a break where you could think about, diving and fishing? Like, where did that creativity come from before any production work even started?
So I don't do diving myself that much. I did a couple of times, but anyway, I lived in Jeju Island, which is Hawaii of Korea. So I see this ocean every day. I have tons of friends who enjoy diving, surfing. So I listened to their story and thought, okay, the ocean is really good dungeon. Every time they go in, everything's so different. Even though the same location, fish is different. As the weather changes, the ecosystem is different. So hey, this just sound like roguelike dungeon. So okay, let's make it into the dungeon. The initial prototype of Dave the Diver was just randomly generated dungeon roguelike game with underwater theme. And you take those items out, which is fish, and just sell it and make money. And that's fun, but I think it's just lacking something because it's not just an item. It's fish. Well, there's something we can do more than this. And we came up with the idea of sushi bar because in Jeju Island, there's some Japanese pub nearby the ocean. The owner, he capture fish in the morning and he run restaurant at night. So, hey, this is really good idea. So, let's make, put that into the game. Let's make it into the game. So that's how we came up with the idea of late night sushi bar.
Has he played the game?
No, I mean, at that time, the bar was not that popular. So every time you go there, it's empty. But later, after they started their own Instagram page, they got so popular.
Are you serious?
Yeah, so they have like, every time I go there to just say thank you to him, there's 15 teams queued. So I just...
Because of your game, probably.
No. It's because of their Instagram. But I mentioned this a couple of times. Maybe there's some people who notice that and go there.
So you make the game, it's roguelike and it has sushi mechanics. Like that was all inspired by your time living in
right.
Jeju Island.
Right.
And what allowed you to think about the sea people and all the different characters of the arms dealer and the social media? Like how did all those other ideas come into play?
I took ideas of characters from One Piece manga. Actually, the blue hole itself is totally based on the One Piece all blue. The all blue is where all fish gather together. So you can see all different fish from different area. That's all blue in manga One Piece. So, hey, I think this really good idea. So let's make it into the game. So we made the blue hole, mysterious blue hole, and you can encounter all different fish from other regions. So yeah, that's how I got the concept of blue hole, the game itself. And for social media and other contents, I took it from some other games. Even Animal Crossing, they use smartphone as a main source of the system. And I think that was really clever because it's intuitive. Like I said, we love intuitivity. And everyone use smartphone. So it's much better than open the menu bar and click the system button.
Were there any games that you were playing while you were in development of Dave the Diver?
People surprised that I took a lot of reference from Yakuza franchise, Like a Dragon, because it looks so different, but I'm a big fan of Yakuza, the game. They have solid main loop, which is battle, and a little bit of RPG. Well, not the latest one, the old one. It also has RPG and action. But they put a lot of mini games and side quests to avoid the game to be dull. If you keep playing this battle stuff over and over, I would say the Yakuza is not the best battle fighting game. So there must be a point that you feel dull with this. So they put a lot of side system to make keep users going, and they have a really good story that everyone wants to see. Hey, who's the real boss? Who's the guy behind this all things? So Yakuza was really the biggest reference myself.
Do you have any way that you typically describe the concept of luck?
There's saying in Korea that success is 70% luck and 30% skill. And now I'm somewhat successful with this game. I truly believe that because, there's something we can control the skill. We can make good game. We can put a lot of effort to make it much better, improve it. But still, there's 70% luck always needed. So for example, when we release the game, there's not many, the big game came out around that time. But let's say Pale World released right after us. That's going to be affect us, right? We do the 30% part, skill part. And that when there's 70% luck comes in and then we put it together and that makes success.
How important was early access? Do you think Dave the Diver could have been the game without early access?
Not at all. No. So I really I wouldn't recommend early access to everyone, but for us, that was the best decision because we were not confident at all making the single player game. Like even Alan Wake 2, they don't do any early access, right? They just do internal test a couple times and release it because they are really experienced, skilled console developer, but not us. We made mobile game. This is first time making it, and we have tons of different elements all together. So, but even though we did a couple internal test round and the results was pretty good, but still we were not confident at all. So we put out demo, and demo feedback was pretty good about concept and how we make the 3D, 2D art all together. But still, I was pretty doubtful that, hey, it's just demo. So company was not really confident with early access itself because it spoiled the story. And if there's not good feedback from that early access, we may not have a chance to go to the full launch stage. But I kind of insisted, hey, we want to do early access. We want to listen more. We want to see what people want to see from the game. I'm active on Discord every day. I mean, I'm obviously I'm not a native English speaker, but I'm trying my best to talk to them. Some people didn't want me to do it because if I say something wrong due to my language skill or just, say something wrong, or if I overpromise something, it kind of, there's fire back to us. Many people didn't like our button mashing stuff, but that's part of the game design. So we told users, hey, this is not QOL, it's game design. So we're not going to give you, not going to remove this button mashing. Later, some user told me that, hey, I have muscle discomfort and I cannot press the button that fast. So I cannot play this game. So there was a moment I thought, hey, maybe we should do it. So we discussed internally and tried the button mashing stuff, automated it. And yeah, I mean, it would definitely help these kind of users. So we put that in. This is optional.
Oh, it's like it's just like a feature you can have.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I guess like once you hook the fish and you have to kind of mash a little bit, that's kind of a core element.
Right. Yeah.
But it's an elegant solution, versus just saying it's one thing or the other. You can meet users in the middle.
And some people give us long list of fish they want to see in the game.
Really?
So there's some guy who live in, I believe it was Louisiana or maybe different. Anyway, so and he sent us long list of lobster that he can see in his real life. Hey, why don't you guys have lobster on only a couple crabs in the game? And then he posted on Discord and it was really detailed. He gave us with his drawing and then we decided to put that in. So yeah, later on we added lobster and crab as an update.
How you've turned Dave the Diver almost into a platform in some ways, and because you're so engaged with the community, it allows you to do collaborations, with a company like, the people that make Dredge and also with Guilty Gear, and you can start including all of these different fish now or like these different creatures into Dave the Diver, almost like it was a mobile game. You can service a game that wasn't initially like a mobile game, like a mobile game.
Yeah, we are servicing the game like a mobile game or live ops game. So for the collaboration with Dredge, a lot of our community members told us, hey, you guys should do collaboration with Dredge because you guys have something in common. I really loved the game, but I didn't think about the collaboration itself. And some user made fan art of Dave in the Dredge world. And I really liked the fan art. So, okay, let's do it. And they just brought that fan art to their Discord. And I publicly asked them, hey, let's do the collaboration. And I posted that fan art. And I think they kind of surprised, hey, this can be real. I mean, these guys are fake. And then I send them DM, direct message, and hey, I'm real developer from Dave the Diver. I want to do something with you guys. And they answered a couple of weeks later, hey, I mean, we didn't trust you, but we thought it's fake, but now it seems real. So let's do it. And that's how it started.
So it's literally a DM starting from fan art to you DMing, and that's how the collaboration forms.
Before I DM, I just posted it in their Discord channel publicly.
So that's how a partnership happens.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. Yeah.
How do you think about humor in games? Like, how did you build that into what Dave the Diver is because it's so charming. It's very funny. Like, is that you who's like the funny guy in the team, or how do you start even thinking about the idea of comedy or humor?
Well, I'm not that funny, but I love funny stuff. So I really like the humor joke in games. Like I really like Kojima Hideo's very small joke in here and there in serious Metal Gear Solid franchise. And I really love Green Fandango, Monkey Island, these games, a lot of humors. These days, I think it's less and less a game with humor. It's very serious, very, how to say, epic. So there's not many room to squeeze this humor in. So, I mean, this is my personal thoughts, but the one reason people love Dave the Diver is it has humor in it, not like other recent games. We try to make a hilarious character and we exaggerate it. And later, I try to see if there's any similar game with what we did with Dave the Diver, and there's not many. Yeah, they mostly. I mean, I'm not saying this bad thing, but they mostly say something serious. They try to be like really dark and gloomy. But luckily we take a different path. So, I mean, that's why people thought Dave the Diver is very unique.
So now that Dave the Diver's been successful, has it changed your perception at all about like success or what success is? Like, has it changed you at all as like a game director now that, 90,000 people have reviewed the game and it's overwhelmingly positive and it's, you've sold millions of copies?
When making something, even music or movie, it's very hard to see things objectively. Top of my head, the correct line that Miyamoto Shigeru said in English. He said, when you're making game, you see very closely like microscope. But when you finish the game or finish the content, you have to just, like leave away from this and then see it objectively. That's what we're trying to do. When we make game, we try to be very personal. We try to put like everything we love. But when we conceptualize it, when we finish it, and we try to stay away from it, hey, well, people really like this, and will this objectively good? The Diver's success kind of like tells us that this was the right direction because we did a lot of things that we personally love, but we try to see it objectively. Hey, if Dave the Diver is on Steam's list, will you buy this? Will you like this character? Will you just pick this blue background game? And then we say, oh yes, I think, we like this. And then this thing worked out well.
You almost have to take yourself out of it.
Right.
And look at it purely as not the designer, not the director.
Right.
Almost as like you get Men in Black, memory erased.
Yeah.
And you have to just look back and like, would I buy this? Would I play this?
Right. If you go to karaoke and if you sing it, you feel like you're the best singer in the world. But if you record it and go back home and listen to it, it's horrible, right? So I think I need to switch this attitude all the time.
Do you think like now that you've been successful, like you're like, wow, I want to keep on making games and keep on making Dave the Diver even bigger?
I want to keep being creative, and I want to make great game that leaves mark on the gaming history. But, just objectively seeing myself, sometimes I'm doubtful how long can I do this job? Because, like it's very trendy industry. People used to love something, but they don't talk about it like a couple years later. So yeah, sometimes I'm not really confident if I can really do it. But I see creator like Kojima Hideo, he hit 60, and Zelda creator, he is over 60. So maybe like if I try my best and try to be creative, try to learn from these young people, the trendy stuff, maybe I can do it much longer. Yeah. But if I ever retire, I think there's one benefit I'll want to take. Because if I play a game, I cannot enjoy it 100%. During my gameplay, I always think, how did they make this scene? Or why this part fun? Why this part not fun? So I have to keep thinking and just memo on my iPad. So that's something I really hate to do, but I have to do as a job. But if I completely free from this job, maybe I can, just put myself 100% into the gameplay.
It's almost like finding a way to enjoy games again as a player, not as a game designer?
So I'll be a very old guy who play PlayStation 7, without making it.
That's your dream for retirement?
That's my dream.
Well, for any other team that's now developing a game, small team, do you have any words of encouragement or advice for anyone that's just starting off building a game, given you've been in that same scenario multiple times in your career?
So we try to listen to users. We try to be humble because, they are your true owner of the game. I mean, you're the creator, but I don't know if it's the right word. They bought the game. They have some users, they have stronger passion in this game. What we did is, we're not super talented team. What we try to do is, I believe we found a good concept. That's what we did well. That's what we did right. But after that, we try to listen to users and try to be humble and put that into the games. That's how we improved the game and led to this level of success. If Dave the Diver could do, I think anyone can do.
Oh, I love that. The audience is now the owners of the game as much as you are as the creators. Yeah. I wish you a lot of luck on any of the other projects that you're working on. I already saw this week that Dave the Diver is selling really well. A bunch of people are coming back, and you have a bunch of collaborations lined up. The anniversary edition on Switch coming out. So I'm just really excited about everything that's up and coming for Dave, and hopefully you get to continue to maybe one day design the RPG of your dreams.
Hopefully, yeah.
Well, thank you.
Thank you so much.